Hello everyone and welcome to our next episode of Stillwood on Location. Today we are in the Animal Museum, which I'm pretty sure is very unknown to a lot of you guys. And to describe a little bit more about what this room is and what it's going to be used for, I have invited Monique, who heads up our outdoor department, to come and explain it a little bit more. So here she is.
Hi, welcome to the museum. So we'll start with a fact. I have it on really good authority that all the birds in this room, if they have fuzzy feet, it means they're native to BC. So this is the Abe Freezing collection. It was generously displayed here by his family, and we usually bring in some school students to come and check it out. So it's a great complement to our outdoor education and our wilderness programs. And if anyone is interested in a tour, they should contact me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Monique. She is Australian, so everything she says is not only super awesome, but 120% true. Now, as we approach Easter, I couldn't help but thinking what it would be like for Jesus as he was approaching that time for him. And one of the things that he did at that time was he had the Last Supper. Now, the Last Supper is a bit more well-known and made a bit famous by the mural done by Da Vinci. But it was at this meal, he sat, he talked, he ate with his disciples, and he started something that we now call communion. Now, what Jesus did is he took some bread and he took a cup of wine, and knowing full well what was going to happen to him, he said to his disciples, "Every time you eat bread and you drink wine, remember that my body was broken and that my blood was spilled." And we replicate that now in our churches by once a month passing around little thimble-sized cups full of juice and half-inch square cubes of bread, and we remember as we drink and eat those things. Now, I come from an evangelical background, so I do fully recognize that there are those of you out there who participate in communion completely different than me. However, two things have always really stood out to me about the way that Jesus did communion and the way that we do communion. The first is the medium that Jesus used. He uses bread and he uses wine. Now, today, bread and wine are pretty common foods, maybe some more common than others, but especially in Jesus' day, when the variety of food was significantly less, bread and wine was even more commonplace. And so really what Jesus is saying, he says, on a daily basis, maybe even multiple times a day, remember me, remember what I did. And so that's very different than the way that we do it once a month. So let's remember that as we're doing communion. This is not just a once a month thing. It's a daily, consistent thing that we should be remembering what Jesus did. Now, the second thing that always stood out to me is the emotion surrounding communion when we do it. It's a very solemn and serious experience, and it should be. Jesus died. That's very solemn, and that's very serious. But death isn't where the story ends. It ends with life. Jesus came back to life. And so while we should be solemn and serious, recognizing the importance and the gravity of the situation, there should also be joy and celebration because we know of what amazing thing was done. So the next time you guys experience communion, or as we approach Easter or other really big name Christian events like Christmas, things like that, let's be reminded that it shouldn't be once a month, every couple times a year that we remember Jesus and what he did. There should be a daily, consistent thing that we do. Now, before we finish up, I just want to talk a little bit more about animals. They're great, super cool, a phenomenal experience to be able to see animals in this way, but obviously the better experience is seeing them live in person. And we do a lot of that through zoos and encountering the wilderness, and unfortunately a lot of zoos are closed right now. However, a lot have live feeds of the animals, or they've been posting videos of different things that they normally do and shows that they do with the animals. They've been posting that online. So in the description below, I've added a few links to some zoos and some aquariums that are doing that. I encourage you guys to check that out. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and I look forward to seeing you again.